What do you think? White count, red count, platelets, hemoglobin, hematocrit, and you get it all in half the time of any other model on the market.
Yeah, but at twice the cost.
Initially, that's true. But with the volume that you do here, what you'll save in time will more than make up the difference.
How do we know you won't come out with another model in a couple of months that'll make this one obsolete?
I'd love it, but we won't. We can have your people trained and ready to go by next Monday. Twice the accuracy rate. Half the time.
A career in selling offers distinct, even enviable advantages over most other kinds of work. Among them, greater freedom of movement, a higher degree of self-regulation, clearer, more concrete measures of results, and most notably, a far wider and richer range and variety of human relationships. Autonomy, mobility, diversity, excitement, stimulation, challenge. Greater autonomy, however, means greater dependence on our own resources, and that which challenges we sometimes perceive as a threat. As professional salespeople, most of us get a lot of training in how to deal with our customers, but we get little or no training at what is clearly the starting place, how to deal with ourselves. It isn't always the customer's resistance we need to overcome. Sometimes it's our own. For instance, our resistance to making the first call, our well-known inclination to put it off in favor of calls on customers we already know.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Betty. OR, please. Dr. French. Bob Doyle. Thanks, I'll wait. How'd it go?
They bought.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Nathan. Bob Doyle. Yeah, listen, I'm going to be out your way this afternoon around 3 o'clock. I thought I'd drop by if you're not too busy. Oh, great. Great, I'll see you then.
How's it going with Clausen?
Well, I haven't been able to reach him yet.
You know, if you'd like, I could take him and you could have Saperstein at Mount Olive.
No, I'll get him. I just been a little busy.
Okay.
Hello, this is Bob Doyle with Techline Medical Supplies. I'd like to make an appointment to see Dr. Clausen about our new S+2 blood analyzer. I was thinking maybe sometime next week or the week after if he's not too busy. Tomorrow? 10:15. No, that's fine. That's fine. Terrific. Tomorrow at 10:15. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe I ought to think about getting into some other line of work.
Selling, a dictionary definition. The influencing of others to buy, the giving up, delivering, or exchanging of goods or services for money, or its equivalent, the parting with for a price.
Thanks. Selling makes the world go round. It always has. But many customers have ambivalent feelings towards salespeople. And many salespeople, for the same basic reason, sometimes have ambivalent feelings about selling. We need to examine those feelings and understand them. Otherwise, it's almost certain that they will undermine our effectiveness in all sorts of ways.
To their great disadvantage, many salespeople share a widespread misconception about the relationship between customer and salesperson. Specifically, that the customer has all the power, the salesperson none. For too many salespeople, the customer is always right comes to mean the salesperson is always wrong. The effective salesperson knows better. Anytime we're in a position to satisfy someone else's needs and wants, we are, by definition, in a position of power. Of course, the customer has power, too. At the beginning, the power to see and hear us out or not. At the end, the power to buy from us or not. In any relationship, the more we have at stake, the greater the other person's power over us. The salesperson, of course, wants the sale. As a rule, though, customers have the higher stakes and are taking the greater risk. To buy or not to buy. Either may turn out to be a mistake. Can I trust her? In other words, is she using her power in my interest or only in her own?
Okay, I'm convinced.
Good. You won't be sorry. In a couple of weeks, you'll wonder how you lived without this.
You're probably right.
An honest and productive sales call is not a power struggle. Rather, it's a negotiation between two people, both of whom have power.
In today's world of increasingly complex products and services, the customer becomes increasingly dependent on the salesperson's expertise. The salesperson functions less and less in the traditional mode, more and more as a specialist, a consultant, a professional problem solver. In terms of power, this means equality. In fact, it's not unusual for the salesperson to have the greater power. For too many salespeople, though, the old notion of powerlessness still hangs on in the back of the mind.
The first call. An appointment with a stranger in his or her territory, arranged at his or her convenience. If we feel that as salespeople we're essentially powerless, we're compromised from the start. In effect, we cast ourselves as intruders who have no real right to be there.
Well, get it over with.
If we feel that the customer has all the power, the salesperson none, inevitably our strategic options narrow down to two.
No, I can't do that.
Got it right here, Doctor. Everything you need. All you gotta do is plug this baby in, push the magic button, and bingo, all your troubles down the drain forever. Oh, yeah.
I can't do that either.
Cringing and servile, or pushy and aggressive. The tired old stereotypes of selling. Intelligence rules out either. But if we see ourselves as the inherently powerless, approaching the inherently powerful, that seems to be the choice.
Yes, sir. All right. You can go in now.
Good morning, Dr. Clausen.
Oh, good morning, good morning. Come in.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Thanks.
Well, I'm sorry I kept you waiting out there. Would you like some coffee?
Sure.
That's from Roger Staubach himself. That's 20 through 62 yards for the touchdown.
How's it going with Clausen?
Fine.
How many times have you seen him?
I don't know, 4 or 5. Why?
Just curious. Have you asked him for the order?
Oh, not yet. He's kind of hard to pin down.
Hmm.
What do you mean,
Well, it just seems like all your customers are kind of hard to pin down.
What are you trying to tell me?
Bob, you're a nice guy and you're a salesman. But your nice guy doesn't quite trust your salesman. He's afraid of him. I know, I used to have the same problem.
What do you mean?
Your nice guy is afraid that if he lets your salesman take the floor, that your salesman will wreck the friendship that you've got going with your customer. So your nice guy tries to keep your salesman out of things as much and as long as he can, and that's why you get so far behind.
Gosh.
That's why you put off making that first call. When you finally run out of excuses and you do make the call, that's why there's so much talking and so little real selling. The longer you put off giving your salesman the floor, the harder it is to let him have it. Well, by that time you've built up some kind of friendship, and it feels like selling would violate it, maybe even kill it. So, when you really have to ask for the order, when you have to let your salesman take over, you can hardly bring yourself to do it at all. And then, when you finally get through all that and you still don't get the order, that's why you get depressed.
Well, don't you?
I used to, but I don't anymore. Now I take a look at it, and if I make a mistake, I learn from it. But, Bob, usually all it means is that what my customer needed and what I had to sell just didn't match up. So, you can't win them all.
Why? Say that again.
Listen, you know, Bob, you can just tell me to shut up and mind my own business, and I will.
No, I appreciate it, I think.
All that training that you get in listening and probing and the rest of the selling skills,
Yeah.
it doesn't count for much if your salesman is always kept waiting in the wings.
You're saying I shouldn't be friends with my customers?
No, not at all. If a customer happens to become a friend, great. But, Bob, let's face it, how many friends do you really have time for? Speaking of which, I've got to run. You know, Bob, you've got all the basic stuff you need to be a lot more successful as a salesman than you are. You have a talent for making friends. Use it to get your salesman and your nice guy together. And get rid of that tiny voice in the back of your mind that keeps telling you that there's something basically wrong with selling. There isn't. Oh, Bob, have I gone too far?
No, I appreciate it.
You don't look like it.
Oh, I do. I really do. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Bob, it's just too expensive.
I tell you, it offers every feature that you need in your operation. White count, red count, hemoglobin, platelets, all in a single 45-second operation that just about eliminates the possibility of human error because it's totally automated. No other system comes close.
Bob, it's just too much money. I'd have to tear my whole budget apart and start from scratch.
I don't deny it. But look ahead. Look what you get. Twice the accuracy rate. That means half the number of retakes. And here, half the time. That means 5 technicians doing the work that now requires 7. You project that ahead over just 1 year, and you've covered your investment. It's paid for.
You're just not going to let me off the hook, are you?
No,
And I thought you were my friend.
I am. Have we got a deal?
Would you go over the service contract with me just one more time?
Sure.
We're all salespeople, really. Every time we speak, it's to sell something. A product, a service, an insight, an observation, an idea, or an image of ourselves that we want somebody else to accept. I mean, whatever we try to communicate, in a very real sense, we're trying to sell. For instance, right now, I'm trying to sell you something. As it happens, a concept of selling. Basically, it's this. the chances of really succeeding at selling are pretty dim if somewhere inside you, being a salesperson in and of itself is a problem. If you have that problem and you track it to its source, you'll probably find that you have unwittingly adopted an old concept of selling that, if it ever had any validity, certainly has done today. The idea that inherently your customers have all the power and you have none. Consciously or not, your customers know better. As your selling moves them closer and closer to a difficult decision, you are exerting power and they are responding to it. You need to be aware of your power in order to make the most effective use of it in helping them make up their minds. That's it.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going with Clausen?
Oh, fine. He bought.
Good.
2 units. Didn't I tell you he's opening up a new lab in Jackson Heights?
Congratulations.
Thanks.